diversification, Trump-era investments, and community notes. Enjoy.
Were you calling to me from outside of a dream? I wanna live, I wanna love you a little longer. I was invincible many years ago when I was so much stronger.
Welcome to the Age of Jeremy. My name is Jeremy Quintanilla. If you're new to this podcast, this is a podcast all about my findings as I journey my way through entrepreneurship. Some of the businesses that I own are 32 Warrior Academy. You can check that one out at 32warrioracademy.com. Age of Radio, you can check that one out at ageofradio.com. Merlin Crypto, Blockheads, company that's behind Merlin. You can check that out at merlincrypto.com. And we're slowly working towards the growth of Q Financial, along with some other projects that I'm working on as well. So that being said, if you are interested in any of those, go to any of those websites that I just said. There are links in the episode description. You can also follow me on social media at Age of Jeremy, except on X, it's at Age of Jeremy Q, where we are doing a giveaway. I'm going to let it go through the rest of this week, maybe the following week, and we're going to do a random giveaway now that I'm over 1,000 X subscribers. Super excited. Thank you, everybody that follows me and is interested in anything that I have to say. I'm always very, very grateful for that. It means the world to me. So that's at Age of Jeremy Q. You can also follow me on LinkedIn and Facebook at Cesar Jeremy Quintanilla. Don't ask me why. It's a short story, but I'm not going to explain it right now. Listen to some old podcasts. I explain it into those. One of the great things that you can do is join my Instagram channel, Dope Insights and Updates. I've been super, super busy, so there hasn't been a ton of content going in there as of last week, but we're getting into the new year. I'm super excited. I'm doing all kinds of cool stuff. I'm going to throw my 2025 bingo card in there. If you don't know what I'm talking about, head on over to Age of Jeremy on YouTube. The last thing that I want to mention, and I will let it get the podcast started, is I want you to listen to our Instagram at Age of Radioverse. I have a live show that I do every Friday with my friend creator Trey, sometimes Joey. We're working on getting some of the podcast hosts from the podcast on the Age of Radio network in there. It's called Mercury. It's a show about podcasting, gaming, anime. We do it every Friday or most Fridays at 6:30 Eastern. I have a heck of a time doing it. I love learning about new stuff. I love being a part of the news and the culture of anime and geekdom and gaming, and we're just going to work to make it better and better throughout 2025. So make sure that you go and like that, subscribe to it, follow it, listen to it. You can check them on demand on X at Age of Radio and on YouTube at Age of Radioverse. We will be at Tempe Public Library live on January 25th, interviewing some of the amazing cosplayers that I have had the pleasure of meeting. We're also going to be interviewing a brand new D&D campaign creator, Wilds of Amaranth, I believe is how it's pronounced, Sorab, from a person that we met from Flat Mountain Publishing. We're going to be talking about his project. I love everything that he's doing. He is a fantastic guy. So we are definitely opening up that realm. The last thing that I want to talk about real quick before we get into the episode is one of the most important parts of my life has been Japanese culture since I was a child, and mainly because of anime. I saw an anime called Akira when I was really, really young. And then I got really into anime until I had a falling out due to some stupid decisions that I made with the people that were important in my life. And I kind of got away from that, kind of getting back into it now, finding, I guess you could say refining myself at 40 or whatever, or midlife crisis or what have you, whatever you want to call it. I don't know what it is. I think it's just people kind of realizing that, you know, maybe it is a midlife crisis because maybe you're like, oh, I don't have as much life left. I look at it as more of like, I kind of looked at everything and said, shit, I could have done this different. So I'm just going to do the rest of it the way that I want to do it. And that's what I'm doing right now. And I enjoy that about the journey that I'm currently on. And if I hadn't done it with CJV, who I'm very grateful for, I would have still done it because I was working on it. It's just that those paths aligned, and me and CJV, we kind of had kind of a shared vision of helping people kind of get out of where they were at in their life. And that's created, you know, great amounts of wealth for me. But anyways, back to the Japanese culture. So when I was younger, someone that was really important to me was Miyamoto Musashi and his Book of Five Rings. There's also a great movie called Samurai 1, 2, and 3. with one of my favorite Japanese actors in it. I can't remember how to pronounce his name specifically, so I don't want to butcher it and I don't want to look it up. Just go look up the Samurai trilogy and you'll know what I'm talking about. The guy that's in it is also in Yohimbo, which is one of my favorite Japanese movies. Probably actually one of my favorite movies is Yohimbo. And so the Book of the Five Rings is from Miyamoto Musashi, who also had a video game when I was growing up. There's some games that are based off of him and his Five Rings. And so his writings, including his Book of Five Rings, is really like a philosophy for the art of the sword, which when we read it when we were younger, we were studying and practicing sword fighting from a Kendo perspective, which hopefully I hope to get back into here. But anyway, so having CJV find this book and talking about it and seeing all the life principles that are in it and rereading it again is super important to me. And Coach JV or CJV made a group for men in refinedintegrity.com. And you can check it out at refinedintegrity.com. There's a special that's going on. Actually, by the time you hear it, the special will probably be over. So I should put this out last week, but whatever. Still get in. It's very inexpensive, in my opinion, for what you get inside of it. And it goes through Stoicism. It goes through Miyamoto Musashi's Book of the Five Rings, also teachings of Christ Jesus. And I think it's really important that men have places where they can go for community and how to, have camaraderie to deal with the things that men have to deal with when they're going through life. And I don't think that that's sexist or anything. And as far as that's concerned, I think women should also have women groups. I think churches do this really good by having men's Bible study and women's Bible study. And whether or not you identify as a man or identify as a woman is irrelevant. My point is, if you identify as a man, then you probably should be around divine masculinity. And that's my personal opinion. Some people might disagree with that, but whatever. But my point is that, when there's things that people struggle with and they're trying to accomplish in their life, there's certain aspects of that where they can need fellowship and they can need community. And that's what we're doing with Inside Refined Integrity, to help men find their divine masculinity, to learn how to be a man in this world and take responsibility for the things that men need to take responsibility for, just like women are. There's nothing wrong with that. And I think that CJV has created a really great courses that have to do with this. And again, I am an owner of this business, but it's not like the main thing that I push and one of the main things that I'm doing. But I'm really excited to go through it this week as it starts, as the courses open up and it goes through, how to find your divine masculinity. And so I think that it's really important for us to do as men. And it's really important for us to have a group like this in case we have trials or we have tribulations, and we have a safe place to go to and talk about that, where other people might be feeling that same way. Now, again, CJV is a follower of Jesus, so there may be a lot of Jesus talk there. Kind of like, if you're not really into Jesus, you're not in Christianity, just kind of don't ignore what's being said, but kind of put that out of your mind for the time being, and just kind of see what you can find value inside of it. Because again, it's to help us be better people in our lives and help us find our purpose and to live a purposeful life, right? Because divine masculinity really represents the spiritual, the mental, and the physical qualities traditionally associated with masculinity. It encompasses attributes like strength, courage, assertiveness, leadership, and protection, but also compassion, wisdom, and a nurturing spirit. And it's the opposite of toxic masculinity, which is about dominance or aggression, where divine masculinity is finding a balance and a positive form of masculine energy. And I think that that's really important for men, especially since we have all this toxic masculinity culture in social media, and we're seen with it all the time. The other thing is, I don't want people to take this away and say, hey, look, they're going to be telling me how to live my life. That's not the point. The point is for you to find out how you need to live your life and what that divine masculinity means for you. And in my opinion, to kind of stop listening to all of the noise and go deeper in yourself to find out who you are and what leads you or what your purpose is. Okay. So again, it's refinedintegrity.com. Go and check it out. I'm really excited for it. And I hope to see some of you there. And if you came from my podcast, please let me know. There will be, actually, this link probably won't be in the episode description for right now. Just go to refinedintegrity.com. Besides the community notes portion of this podcast episode, where I talk about my thoughts on community notes and the social segment. Most of this is about like investing in diversification. So UBS Khan says diversification is key in our charged environment. So UBS Group's AG's global co-head of wealth management said it will be key for clients to diversify investments amid political tensions and economic instability. In a world that's geopolitically more charged and potentially less global, being diversified is important, said Iqbal Khan, speaking to Bloomberg's television at the bank's Greater China Conference in Shanghai last week. Actually, this might have been when was this put out? January 12th. It was actually probably, it was today. But China's obviously ahead of us, or Asia is. UBS is the biggest wealth manager in the Asia Pacific region with more than 1,000 client advisors. The Swiss bank last year relocated Khan to Hong Kong, underlining the region's importance even amid a prolonged downturn in the Chinese economy. Khan also added the U.S. is a key market for the Zurich-based lender. The bank will expect U.S. interest rate reductions, albeit a bit slower than anticipated, he said. He reiterated the bank's commitment to Asia and to China, where UBS is waiting to gain approval to purchase the remainder of a securities venture in the country. He goes on to say, we have started to see a commitment of China towards the economy, and we are starting to see that economic policy come to bear. We will see what the next steps around the more proactive fiscal stance will be in China. That will be as relevant as what the U.S. does. Khan was tapped last year to lead the bank Asia Pacific division as part of a shakeup that saw investment banking chief Robo Kirovsky appointed to run UBS's business in the U.S. and jointly oversee the wealth division with him globally. The Swiss bank is scheduled to report its fourth quarter earnings on February 4th. So that's articles from Bloomberg. As I always say, make sure that you follow Bloomberg, get a Bloomberg subscription, follow them on X, whatever the case is. Stay up to date. They actually have a Chinese newsletter that I need to subscribe to so it can help me practice my Chinese. But the point is that I want to bring back to this is like, we're going into a weird, interesting economy here with the Trump administration. Not saying that Trump's causing it. I'm just saying that there's lots of factors that are happening. Russia and China are becoming stronger. China wants to attack Taiwan. North Korea is working with North Korea is working with Russia to help them fight the Ukraine war, trying to take over Ukraine war. China has the same concept with Taiwan. They want Taiwan. I believe that will lead us into a world skirmish. We have things that are happening inside of other countries. If I'm not mistaken, President Biden released let me see. Hold on. Let me just grab this real quick. President Biden. Yeah. So if I'm not mistaken, he put out a reward, to capture Maduro, or for Maduro to step down from him being the leader of Venezuela, as the person that Maduro won against in the election has proven that he actually won the election, and Maduro kind of essentially took control over the country. And so Venezuela is essentially in a third term with Maduro. And the United States looks at that as probably as a dictatorship. In my opinion, the same possibility could happen with Nayib Bukele in El Salvador. But the point is that we're going into a lot of global uncertainties. And when there are a lot of uncertainties, one of the best things that we can do with our investments is through diversification. And a lot of people, so you can diversify in two ways. And this is kind of what I want to talk about. You can diversify in two ways. You can diversify within a specific asset class. So what that means is, let's say I have Bitcoin. If I only have cryptocurrency, I'm not diversified in that asset class. I would need to have, say, Bitcoin, Ethereum, AVAX, Quant, XRP, XLM, AVAX, whatever the case is. So I can diversify within an asset class. Can also diversify within a sector, within an asset class. So like if I wanted a bunch of ETFs, I could get ETFs of, say utility companies. I could get ETFs of gold. I could get ETFs of treasury bonds. I could, diversify through ETFs. I could also diversify against those other asset classes. If I have an asset class of, say, commodities, maybe I want oranges, maybe I want cattle, maybe I want lumber, maybe I want some gold, maybe I want some silver. So the point is, I'm not going to tell you exactly what to invest in. Go and do your own research and understand. Well, I'm going to tell you some stuff to possibly invest in under a Trump administration here in one of the next segments. But the point is diversification is so important. And I encourage everybody to kind of get into understanding how diversification works. And I can go over some portfolio theory in maybe some live videos on my LinkedIn or on my YouTube to talk a little bit about that, because portfolio theory, in my opinion, is one of the most exciting parts about finance, and one of the things that I enjoyed the most about finance, and why I wanted to go into advising and do into kind of create Q Financial. And I'm moving more towards back into that as I kind of get some ground and stability on the things that I'm trying to accomplish. But a lot of that has to do with diversification, and you need to diversify outside of all of the asset classes that you have, especially if you look at it and you see that you're so focused in, maybe you're only focused in on tech stocks. Maybe you need to open up and get some consumer staple stocks. And inside of the Warrior Academy, I teach all this in our Gen Shifter group. And I share a lot of this stuff within the group as well, outside of the Gen Shifter group, just about the fact that, if you look at all the sectors of the economy, you want to have some type of diversification in all of them so that you can diversify in those stocks. But at the same time, maybe you want some bonds, maybe you want some commodities. Again, I'm not going to tell you exactly what to invest in, but what I am going to say is go and do your research. There's free research out there in the world. Learn about how to diversify, create a portfolio that's properly weighted, and you can start getting into other investments. And what that'll help with is it'll help with some of the craziness that we're going to go into in an economy where we're probably going to have much more conflict. We're going to have much more change in climate, and whether or not you believe in climate or not, I'm not going to address that or talk about it. In science says that the climate is increasing, and that's going to cause more and more storms. I've taken climate classes, I've taken meteorology, I've taken geology, and and geography, which is a little bit different. But the point is that the science and the data shows that the reason why things are happening, and we have been concerned about this as scientists, or scientists have been concerned about this for a while, that these things were going to happen and we need to take precautions for them. So more fires, more floods, more storms, the intensity of the storms are going to be worse. Anyways, the point is that's also going to affect the markets, and another reason why you need to be diversified. So if you're brand new to investing, it doesn't have to be crazy. Go research diversification, what you should diversify into. Reach out to a financial advisor. They will help you. If they're not into cryptocurrency, find another financial advisor, because cryptocurrency isn't going away. All right, in the social segment today, I want to talk about fact checking. So I think that media doesn't do a good job spinning certain things. So, Mark Zuckerberg became a fitness bro, a UFC bro, whatever the case is. And I'm not gonna. I love UFC. I like fighting. I like boxing. I like martial arts. I like all of that. I like watching it. I like watching one fighting, and I like watching Muay Thai or Letway more than I like watching UFC specifically. I think that I'm just going to say this. I think judo is a much better art to go into rather than BJJ, and I think Letway is a better sport than Muay Thai, and all fighters should just learn Letway and judo. But anyway, and maybe BJ and some BJJ or some groundwork and some wrestling. But again, I'm not like a professional wrestler or anything. But the point is, I think sometimes we like lump people into these things because they like certain things. And I don't think that that's right. And I'm trying to be cautious of that. And so Mark Zuckerberg has a good relationship with Dana White. Dana White has a good relationship with Donald Trump. To some extent, maybe he has a good, relationship. Mark Zuckerberg was going to fight Elon Musk. Elon Musk has a good relationship with Lex Friedman. Lex Friedman is a BJJ black belt. Joe Rogan's a BJJ black belt. And we kind of like take all this toxic masculinity and we lump them all in together. And then we put them on social media and they say weird shit. And so the point is that I don't necessarily think what Mark Zuckerberg is doing is bad. I think that if we are going to, there's two things to it. So the problem is that the third party fact checking company that they were utilizing to check facts, they believe were biased in their fact checking. And I can understand that because they were probably biased in the sense that they were probably more progressive, maybe center left, and would be biased towards right or further right type of of propaganda, and it would be taken off of the platform. And that's one of the reasons why the alt-right and the right were kind of against these and kind of utilized it as a free speech. The problem is that the Biden administration tried to push Facebook to take down things that they thought were not accurate about what they were spreading with the COVID virus. What Mark Zuckerberg said on Joe Rogan was that they would even push it so as far as things that were accurate, and they didn't want that being pushed. So people would be going and trying to get and to not get the vaccine. So the Biden administration wanted that kind of stuff blocked so that they would get so more people could get the vaccine. That part is 100% wrong, right? And that is blocking the government trying to block a freedom of speech from a platform. So that would be the same thing as me going and protesting outside and saying, COVID-19 with accurate information and even inaccurate information, going and saying stuff on the side streets. And then they would come, they would shut me down if they're not allowed to do that as a freedom of speech. And so for the stuff that they could 100% tell was inaccurate, I personally wouldn't have a problem with them blocking that type of stuff. The stuff that's not 100% proof that it's inaccurate, I don't think that you should block that, because then that does put a block on the freedom of speech. The other problem with the freedom of speech thing is that the government can block any type of freedom of speech that it wants as it relates to companies if the company's not doing something right. It can't block us from going out and doing our freedom of speech in the capacity of creating our own application and then pushing it out there for this freedom of speech. But they can push, I guess I should take that back. Not that they can do it, they can push towards it, right? And the company can block the freedom of speech, not the government. So the company can block all the freedom of speech that they want because it's their platform and you're agreeing to their terms of service. Now, should they do that? Absolutely not. It's like when people ask me, the only thing that I won't tolerate on, Age of Radio, owning Age of Radio, is hate speech to the extent that incites some type of killing or some type of violence. If a group of people want to get together and talk about the things that they believe and it doesn't go and incite any type of violence, then I don't have a problem with that being on any podcast. And whether or not that's left, right, far left, propagandic, North Korean, whatever the hell it is, I don't care, as long as it's not saying, I want you to go out and do this, or someone should go and do this, or something should happen to this person, and whoever does that deserves to be put on a pedestal. Those are the types of things that should not happen from any type of media that's out there, because that incites violence. Us talking about something and sharing our thoughts on it and concerns for it and ideas about it, that can go from anything in the world, from Jesus to racism to whatever the case is, it doesn't matter. But so Mark Zuckerberg said that the Biden administration tried to do that, and he feels bad about it. I don't know how bad he feels about it. I don't know if this is a ploy to get more people to go back to Facebook, go to Instagram, go to Threads. He recently put Dana White on his board of directors. Dana White has a good relationship with Donald Trump, but Elon Musk also has a good relationship with Donald Trump. So that's the reason I believe that they fully decided, as he talked to more people, that he made the decision to get rid of fact checking and move it over to community notes. Community notes can work really, really good. It's the people looking at the information, making a recommendation that someone needs to research this, someone researching it that's on some type of level, like a level 2 of the community notes, and the people working together to stop the spread of information. I believe that is something that technically should happen, but I think it might be easier to do it from a third-party checking system, but it could be better for speech overall if it is coming from a community notes piece of it. And so while I'm still working to get my community notes approved on X, I used to have it through Age of Radio, and then I canceled it so I could get it on Age of Jeremy, because you can't have it on both. I messaged him, horrible customer service, whatever, getting back to messages with X, but eventually I'll probably get the community notes. And I believe that I can be a part of that community. And that's what I would like to see more of. I personally would like to see more of community notes. I would like more people taking more of an interest in the information that they are getting presented with and learning how to fact check it on their own, so that they can make the assessment of what is good information, what's good information for them, what's good information to share, and what's good information to help them make specific decisions in their lives. And that is why I do think community notes is something good. And I encourage everyone on here to get involved with community notes as much as possible so that we can stop the spreading of incorrect information, and hopefully we can make good assessments or notations on information that is technically propagandic, right? So, and what I mean by propaganda, I think we think of the Red Scare propaganda that came from, Russia, and the stuff that happened in El Salvador when the communists were doing the revolution, and the stuff that happens in Cuba, and the way in which falsities happen in North Korea and false information is given to the Chinese and so forth. But when we're thinking about like propaganda, we can also think about it from what certain sides are doing when they're just pushing a specific topic when that's not relevant to the topic at hand for the emergency. And I don't want to pick on the right, but they do it from the stuff that I have seen. They tend to do it the most. And if I see it from the other side, I will definitely make that assessment and also share that. But with with Donald Trump just saying that Gavin Newsom and the mayor of Los Angeles should retire, and then Elon Musk is pushing out information about the people that are in charge of the Los Angeles Fires Department, is irrelevant right now to the fact that a bunch of people are dying and losing their houses in fires. I don't know how many people are dying, but people are losing their homes in fires. Animals are losing their homes. There's a really big fire situation that needs to be taken care of. And what we should be doing during the emergency is coming together, solving the emergency, and then we can look back and say, hey, could we have done this better? Should you be the person that's in this power? Rather than constantly pushing propaganda to fuel more fire, to then fuel more spreading of information, to create more of a people's awareness around your political position so that you can create more political strength. Now, that being said, I'm not saying that Gavin Newsom and or the mayor of Los Angeles, I can't remember her name, are responsible for this or not responsible for it. I think it's irrelevant at this specific point in time because we have an emergency as humans that we should help solve is the situation with the fire. And so I hope that if we have community notes, we can come together to stop the spread of the propaganda as the emergencies are unfolding and to stop a propaganda in general. So again, we can get better information to ourselves. But I will also say that we should be ashamed of ourselves if we are getting the majority of our news information from social media when we should be getting it from better sources. Now, whether or not you think CNN's telling the truth or if Fox is telling the truth or the newspaper's telling the truth, I would just say, go to the newspaper, go to long form journalism. If you don't know what those are, go look it up and do your own research and get better informed about information that is out there. We should be ashamed of ourselves if we are getting our main information from social media. If it's leading us to a source where we can get better information, then that's fine. But again, we should not just be leaving it to social media being the news, because it's not media, it's social media, and it's just a bunch of people sharing whatever is on their mind and pushing stuff to market themselves and to grow their brand. So again, I encourage everybody to go to longer form journalism in some capacity to get your information. So during the Jimmy Carter funeral, Barack Obama and our soon-to-be next president, I forgot what number we're on, President Donald Trump was talking with Barack Obama. They were chummy. They looked happy with each other. They were sharing laughs. And then there was a short from Newsweek, and I went and watched the video of it off of TikTok, of course, as I was just saying that in the last segment, and watched the full interview. And there was parts of it where Donald Trump was like saying that he didn't come out 100% say it, but he said that him and Barack Obama actually like each other and that they were, being chummy with each other at the funeral. They had some good talks backstage, and it just kind of reiterates that we're all being fucked by everybody. And we just got to do a better job at finding out who's fucking us more. Excuse my language. I don't have a better way to say that. But my point is that, it just made me realize what a persona Donald Trump is, and how the reason when people ask me why I think that he's a bad person is because I don't think that he's real, right? I don't think that he is being truthful with the people of the United States. He's a populist, and populists just say populist shit to get themselves elected, and they push certain concepts and values to a group of people that they think that they can get to move so that they can get the things that they want and the power that they want. That's the reason why I don't like Donald Trump. And so, do I think that he's a horrible human being? I think he's done some horrible, stupid shit, but a lot of people have. I think the reason why I don't like him the most is because he is not actually being real with the people. And a perfect example of that was that interaction and then what he said about his feelings for Barack Obama in that interview, where I have people that have said that they hated other people because they said that they liked Barack Obama and they're 100% MAGA. And so, I mean, if that's how you feel about people that like Barack Obama, then maybe you shouldn't like Donald Trump because he essentially said that he likes Barack Obama. But anyway, that's again, that's politics. And I think that people are getting played by that concept. But needless to say, we are moving into a Trump administration. And rather than bitch and moan about it, if you are a Democrat, or if you're an independent that has progressive views or progressive or whatever the case is, our fight is on the ground, moving our value systems and sharing our value systems with more people and getting other people elected that more align with our value system. Because Donald Trump doesn't align with anything in my value system except for possibility the push of cryptocurrency, but that's taking it, in my opinion, taking it away from decentralization and even making it more and more centralized. But we're not going to go into that right now. What we are going to talk about is what you can benefit from investments if you are investing during a Donald Trump administration. And so it can be influenced by a couple of factors. So the one factor that I think is the most important thing on there is cryptocurrency. There's going to be a crypto czar. There's going to be a pro-crypto administration. Gary Gensler has a couple days left and that guy's out of there. And I forgot who the new appointment's going to be, but we'll have a new person in there that's going to be pro cryptocurrency. I was at a movie theater today. I saw Craven. One of the previews before Craven was Coinbase talking about crypto payments. We are moving into a world where cryptocurrency is going to be more prominent, more prevalent, and everybody needs to be a part of it. And don't not do that just because you don't like Donald Trump. Cryptocurrency is not going away. And I cannot stress that enough. I am not going to sit, and while I do believe that XRP is going to be like make a lot of people millionaires and Bitcoin is going to make even more and more people millionaires, I'm not going to push a specific cryptocurrency. All I'm going to say is that cryptocurrency is going to be a bigger part of our infrastructure as we're going forward. I'm not trying to get you to buy a specific cryptocurrency. I just don't want you to miss out because of the fact you are not educating yourself and you are not listening to the things that myself and CJV have been talking for about the last 7 years, or at least since 2019, 2020. Okay, so that's the first one. Secondly, tech and media is going to be so big. I mean, if Elon ever takes X back public, I believe it could skyrocket. Trump Media and Technology Group, True Social might get bigger now. Meta and Instagram are going to grow. Microsoft's going to grow. I mean, tech and media is going to be so important. I'm not going to tell you what specific stocks to buy, but I mean, go and do some research on tech. Tech and media is going to be really important along with cryptocurrency. So if you don't have tech and media as part of your overall stock diversification, please get into it. Again, I said we were going to be talking a lot about diversification. Okay. The third one is going to be the energy sector. Donald Trump loves energy and he loves oil. And one of the reasons why, there's a few reasons why people think that he wants Canada. Canada has resources, right? Canada has sweet oil. Alberta has a lot of oil, especially like Calgary and Edmonton, in Canada. And so oil is going to be really important. So energy is going to be super, super important under the Trump administration. So I would recommend doing some research on some important energy companies, buying them, adding them to your portfolio, maybe buying an energy sector to your portfolio with oil companies and so forth. The other reason this is important is because that's one of the reasons why people think that he wants Greenland. I personally don't. I believe that that's part of it. I believe that Greenland, personally, I'm a Danophile, or I don't know what you call a person that likes the Danish. Not as much as I would. I don't study it as much as I wish that I could. But I like Denmark. I love their history. I love the Greenland history. I love the Faroe Island history. I hope to spend lots of my time in the later parts of my life in all three of those places. And one thing I will say is I do not want Greenland to be part of the goddamn United States. But that being said,